Buying a used car can actually be a pretty stressful topic for some of you, and I get a lot of messages asking for advice on buying a used car. For those who don't know me, I'm Peter from the United Driver channel. I usually feature exotic cars, doing maintenance, restoration, and tuning on my own vehicles. But keep one thing in mind, this is not my job. I'm not a professional. But throughout my life, I've bought a lot of cars, maybe even way too many. And so today, I now know how to spot a good deal from a bad one. That's why I'm responding to your request and making this video, in which I'll give you 5 things to check when buying a used car to help you avoid any unpleasant surprises. Let's review the 5 things to check before buying a used car. In this video, I'm going to use the cars I already have at home, and we'll start with the first thing to check: the brakes. As you know, the brakes are the primary safety feature on a vehicle, and it's also the part that can often be very expensive to replace. To check the brakes on a vehicle, we're going to use my Yukon. So here, look, you have the brake disc. You can see it's a bit rusty, but that's not really the most serious issue. What matters is when you touch it like this. There shouldn't be a big difference between the edge of the disc and the inside of the disc. That means if you notice there's really a step here, that it's worn down on the inside, it means it's worn out. Same thing, you touch it a little to see if there are any irregularities on the disc. Here, you can see it's completely smooth and the wear isn't deep, so even if they don't look very nice, they're far from needing to be replaced. So that's good. As for the wear on the pads, I'll try to show you. It's not very easy with the casing, but here, basically, you can see the pads directly on the disc. You can see that the pads are new, so there's no problem. They won't be replaced. One thing you can do as well is get into the vehicle and press the pedal to see if you hear any squeaking from the 4 calipers. This could be a sign of a future problem or an issue that's already there. Of course, do this with the engine running, otherwise the pedal will become very hard quickly since there's no brake assist. And likewise, take this opportunity to test the brake pedal. See if it's hard or if it's soft. Now, this is a little tip that I use myself, which isn't necessarily true for all cars. But when I go to see a car and I notice that the brakes are shot and, for example, the fluid is pitch black, it can give you an idea of the overall neglect of the vehicle. You need to be even more thorough with the rest of the vehicle, especially if the brake pads are worn out and the discs are wrecked. Be cautious about the rest of the car in such cases. I'll give you a bonus tip as well. The advantage when you buy a used car is that you also have access to the used parts market. Here, of course, I'm not talking about tires, discs, or anything like that. Those, no. You buy those new, obviously. But if, let's say, you buy a used car and you end up breaking a headlight, a fender, or something inside the car, if you go to your dealer, you're going to get ripped off. Let's be honest, that's the truth. What I recommend you do is go to the website ovoco.far. That will be your best alternative for finding cheap parts for your car. By the way, listen carefully. I'm going to give you a chance to win something from Ovoco in a few seconds. Ovoco is a website that lists millions of used parts from different junkyards all over Europe. They're specialists in the field. So, when it comes to finding specific parts, there's nothing better than them. And the advantage is, like I was saying, it brings together several junkyards from across Europe. And you know very well that the prices for parts aren't the same, even if it's the same part in France or, for example, in Eastern Europe. So sometimes it's more interesting to buy parts from abroad like that. You have them shipped over. But just for this Mercedes, it already helped me with the climate control unit that I bought from them. Shipments are quick, secure, and well handled. Returns are allowed and payments are safe, so you can feel confident. I've partnered with them for a while. Now, I'll show you something else. Look, they sent me, as you can see inside the Mercedes, some little Ovoco air fresheners. And I'm going to give some away to you. I have 4 or 5 left. There you go. I have 5 left, I'll send them for free. To win them, it's very simple. Just write in the comments of this video, Ovoco is cool. I'll give you about a week to enter. In my next YouTube video, I'll randomly pick 5 winners and send them to you for free. Usually partner products smell bad, but these are amazing and smell great. I don't know what they use, but they're really good. By the way, I'll put the link to their website just below. You'll find it in the description and as the first pinned comment. The only thing I ask is that you click on it. Go check out the website, because if you click on it, that's what actually helps me keep this kind of partnership going. And that's what allows me to keep making videos like this one for you. So click on the link, go browse the website a bit, and that's all I'm asking from you. Let's move to the second point to check. The suspension. The suspension can quickly become a nightmare. Each car has its own particularities, and if you happen to get a model where the suspension costs as much as the car itself, you're screwed. Testing them couldn't be easier. First, you can do a quick visual check by crouching under the car and seeing if you notice that the shock absorber isn't soaked. If it's soaked, oily, or anything like that, it means it's leaking, and so it needs to be replaced. The simplest way to test them is what I'm going to show you now. The suspension is two things: a spring and a shock absorber. The car should move slightly, but not too much. We're looking at a car with original shock absorbers, which is why I picked it. What you do is, you go to each corner around the wheel, roughly in the middle. That's generally where the suspension is, and you're going to shake it a bit. There you go. See, it bounced up, and then it stops. So that means the suspension is good. For a brand new, perfect suspension, straight from the store, I want to tell you, the car bounces and comes back to its place. The second one, it stopped. Perfect. Obviously, you won't get on the roof to try it, so use the trunk instead. No need to bounce for long. One push is enough. There you go, it stopped. It's good. And let's move on to the last one. It's okay, it's acceptable. It's okay, like I was saying. If a car bounces like that after you've pushed down on it, the suspension is dead. Don't even try to figure it out. When you really push down on it and it doesn't stop, it's completely dead. The second thing you can test on your suspension is during the test drive. Pay close attention to see if there are any squeaks, squeals, creaks, knocks, or strange noises coming from the suspension. Especially if you're driving on slightly rough roads. That's the best way to test the suspension and really hear if there are any noises. And then also in turns. Really try out the turns and stay very attentive. No radio in the car, no music, nothing. You close the windows and listen. A suspension in good condition is really essential for both the comfort of the car and also for safety. If it doesn't work, negotiate the price or walk away. Third important point to check, and not the least important, is the engine. Now here, I want you to be very attentive because there will be quite a few things to talk about. And for me, I think this is the most important thing when buying a used car, to carefully check what's under the hood. First, I hope your car isn't too new, since newer models often have plastic covers everywhere. If your engine has a small top cover, there are two options. It's secured by clips, like this one. There you go, it's that simple. If needed, bring a small ratchet with a 10mm socket. Usually just remove 2 to 4 10mm screws and the cover comes off. Because if you don't remove the cover, you can't really see the engine. So I'm telling you, check everything. Because if you have to change that, it's usually the price of the whole car. We'll start with the most basic thing, checking the fluids. Locate the coolant in advance or ask the seller directly. Here, for example, on this Mercedes, it's right here. Here you can see that the bottom of the expansion tank is bluish, even a bit green. That means it's full. And in the worst case, if the car is cold, of course, never do this when it's hot, you can open it. And when you open it, I don't know if you can see it clearly in the video, but in any case, it's full, there's no problem, it's filled up. Next, as usual, you can check the windshield washer fluid level. So here, you can see that it's filled up. It's missing just a little bit, but that's okay because it gets used up pretty quickly. You can check the brake fluid level. As you can see, it's not at maximum, which is normal since worn brake pads cause the fluid level to drop. And when you change the brake pads, the fluid will go back up and reach the max level. So that's nothing to worry about, but if it's below the minimum, yeah, that's a problem. And you can also see that it's not black. It's actually a bit transparent. You can open it whether it's hot or cold. There's no problem with that. Obviously, you can't see much, but you can tell that it's far from dirty. You can see that it's still pretty clear overall. So here we're dealing with an automatic transmission, but if it's a manual transmission, usually not far from it, you should have a second reservoir with clutch fluid, which is also brake fluid. Check how it looks and its level. And obviously what I think is the most important thing to check in terms of fluids in a car is the oil level. You usually have your little dipstick here. You take a small cloth and there are markings on it. I'll be able to show you on mine. So here, I'm not going to wipe it, but basically, there you go. You have a little marking that lets you check the oil level. Well, I haven't cleaned it here, but on mine, there's no problem. I check my oil level monthly, which is good. We put it back in because many people never check their oil. You've got 800 kilometers to drive, you get home, and end up blowing the engine. Next, one thing I can advise you to check, if it's visible, is the accessory belt. It's usually the belt you see right in front of the engine or on the side, if it's visible. If you can see it, look at the inside. You can see the grooves there. Here, we can see that the grooves are in perfect condition. They're not cracked, nothing at all. So that means the belt is really in very good condition. You can check it on the inside, but you can also check it on the outside of the belt. In any case, we can see that it's perfect. So there's no problem, there's no need to change it. One more thing to check on the engine, leaks. Check if the engine is dry. Mainly look at the valve cover. You see, it's the cover that's on top of the engine. Here, you can see that mine is perfectly dry. There's no problem. Also, check the sides of the engine to see if there are any water leaks, oil leaks, or any kind of leak. An engine shouldn't leak. If, like me for example, you have a big leak around the oil filler cap, don't worry, it might just be that the previous person spilled a little bit next to it. Or maybe the gasket here is leaking. That's the same, not a big deal. It can be fixed in 30 seconds, or maybe someone just missed. You need to tell if it's an engine leak or just someone who spilled oil, maybe after drinking. But overall, when you see, for example, an engine that's dry like this around all these black gaskets you see here, that's pretty much okay. Same thing, if you look, check the oil pan. Here, you can see that my engine is completely dry. There's no problem. When you have a dry engine like this, it's already a pretty good sign. One last thing to check on the engine, if you have the chance to see the car when it's cold, that's ideal. That way, you can hear it start cold and see if there's any strange noise or not. If the car arrives already warm, you won't hear the cold start. And for me, that bothers me a bit. The last thing to check is the engine noises. Start the engine and listen. An engine makes noise, but it shouldn't make strange noises. If you hear whistling, knocking, or irregular sounds, that's not good. An engine makes noise, sure, but it should run smoothly. That means the noises should be, I don't know if you can call it even, but there shouldn't be any suspicious noises. There you go, it makes noise. You can hear the injectors, you can hear a lot of things, but it makes a smooth sound. It's running smoothly. There you go, the revs aren't doing anything weird. The idle should be stable. That's an engine that's running perfectly well. I forgot one thing before finishing with the engine. While it's running, make sure there's no smoke coming out of the exhaust. Be careful not to confuse smoke with condensation from a cold car in winter. Right now it's very cold. The car's cold, so there's condensation. If you've driven it or someone brought it by road, check for black smoke, indicating overconsumption or clogging, blue smoke, which is concerning, or white smoke. Cars shouldn't emit smoke. With a catalytic converter, they run quietly and shouldn't smoke. Here, the smoke is fading, which is normal. So, of course, it seems a bit obvious to me too, but I'm still going to tell you. Of course, check the engine's maintenance history. Service book, replaced parts, regularity of maintenance. Make sure everything is okay. The engine, anyway, is the heart of the car. It has to work, because if you have to replace it, it's not the same price as 2 brake discs or 4 shocks. Fourth thing to check when buying a used car, the tires. The tires can tell you a lot, just like the rest of the car. So, to check the current condition of your tires, it's very simple. A car should drive straight. That means the wear indicators you see here are supposed to be the same in all 4 places, or more or less, depending on how many there are. But basically, the wear on a tire, whether on the inside or outside, should be exactly the same. The car should sit flat on the road. If it doesn't drive evenly, it's either been in an accident or it has bad alignment. So here, you have the wear indicators. When they're deep in the tire like this, it means the tires are in great shape. You can see there's still plenty of room before the indicator. When this rubber reaches the indicator, the tires need to be changed. It's clearer from the side. The indicator is here, showing the rubber's thickness. So when this thickness of rubber reaches the indicator here, it means they're ready to be replaced. You can also do this test, the really simple basic trick. You take a coin, you put it in the tire like this, you pinch it, you take it out, and there you see you still have all this tire thickness left. So the tires are really far from needing to be replaced. You do this on all 4 corners with your coin and compare. I'm just doing the rear since I know my car. I have the same wear front and back and replaced all 4 tires at once. There's a clear gap between the coin and my finger, so the tires don't need changing yet. Just be careful not to misquote me. The wear on the front tires can be different from the wear on the rear tires. That's totally possible. What's most important is that your wear on the left is the same as on the right. If one side is more worn, that's a problem. Maybe the person only turned one way, but that's not real. I'm repeating this because it may seem obvious, but some may not know. You can change only your front tires or only your rear tires, except in some very specific cases with 4-wheel drive cars, like certain BMWs or others. But I'm not going to get into that topic. If you buy that type of vehicle, it's because you know about it. But on the other hand, you can't change just one tire. If this one is worn and the other one isn't, or if one day you get a flat on one tire and not the other, you can't change just one tire. Tires are always replaced in pairs on the same axle, either both front or both rear tires, never one front and one rear. Doing otherwise isn't done, and if you do, you shouldn't own a car. Please show at least a minimum of respect for your car. We'll also finish talking about tires by mentioning cracks. So here, for example, we can see that the tire has no cracks or anything like that, and that it's fairly new. By the way, the date of the tires is written on them. Not many people know that, so it's written here. I hope you can see it clearly. It says 12/24, which means the 12th week of the year, 2024. So we can see that these tires aren't even a year old yet. To be honest with you, I don't remember what the maximum allowed lifespan of a tire is. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. But generally, when you have a tire that's cracked, it means it's worn out. I'm saying this because I've already seen cars. I've seen cars that were shown to me with tires that were 18 years old. I don't even know how they didn't burst. The fifth thing to check when buying a used car is the bodywork. But be careful, there's bodywork and then there's bodywork. And mine is the perfect example. When I bought my Mercedes, I saw that the bodywork was far from perfect. On this side, it's still okay. You might say, come on, it's not that bad. The guy's exaggerating. Let me show you. That's not a deal breaker when buying a car. Just because a car has a small scratch like this doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. These are corners, so of course, corners always end up getting scuffed a little. Same thing, unfortunately, in the front, the corners are really scratched up. You can even see here, the bumper's cracked. It's actually broken. But that's not a big deal. That can happen when parking or doing various things. I even have the fender here, see? My main bodywork issues are these. You see here, the clear coat has completely come off. And that's, unfortunately, on a good part of the side of the car. But that's not a deal breaker for me. Why? Because, as I was saying, there's bodywork and then there's bodywork. The car was repainted, probably because it had scratches or something else. It was repainted badly, and the clear coat aged poorly. This side was repainted. There are drips at the bottom anyway. So that's not something the previous owner did. It's just time and a bad paint job. So for me, that's okay. On the other hand, if the seller comes with a car and it's in this condition, that's not a bad paint job. That's the result of a bad driver. So either someone hit the car, and unfortunately, it's not the person's fault. But if they didn't repair the car, it really shows that they don't care much about their car. So the maintenance is likely neglected too. Maybe they've hit every car nearby and are now the most wanted in their area. If someone shows you a car in terrible condition, that's a definite no. Unless they offer it for $100. Because here, for example, when it's the lower part of the chassis like this, or even the rear quarter panel, that's structural. So you can't just replace that part. It's done for. At that point, the car is technically good for the junkyard. Same thing here. That's not good, that's bad. Here, there are definitely some body alignment issues. So that's really not good at all. You don't buy a car that's in this condition unless you're getting it for a really low price. But as soon as it's the rear quarter panel like this, it's really a mess. There you go. So that was our Honda HR-V that I've had for 10 years now. And this one, on the other hand, yes, we're keeping it. It's ours. We don't care. Because it's our, let's say, beater car for taking out the trash. Even the front fender here, it took a hit, the front fender. Another thing to check with the bodywork is the chassis. Make sure to check underneath that there's no rust. Because if the rust is penetrating, it can ruin a chassis in 2 minutes. And as a result, the car might not even pass the inspection at all. If you need to rebuild a chassis, it's extremely expensive. To check, simply place it behind the front wheel. You take your phone with the flash, for example. You put it in video mode. And you film the front subframe directly, like this. And then you realize that the car doesn't have any rust. Repeat the process in front of the rear wheel. To film the rocker panels then. Here, we can see that the rocker panels are fine. And then, the last point, in the back, in general. At this point, you check your rear axle. And here, you see that your rear axle is fine. Rust is really the thing you have to check. It's essential. An oil change that's 1,000 km overdue can be done quickly. But if your passenger falls during the first acceleration, it'll be a strange experience for them. I'll give you a 6th bonus point anyway. It's very simple. Test everything. But when I say test everything, I mean test everything. The basic stuff. It's winter, you test the AC. It's summer, you test the heater. Turn on the ignition, start the car, let it warm up and everything. During the test drive, after the test drive, it doesn't matter. You test everything. Of course, the lights, the hazard lights, the turn signals, the different fan speeds, the car radio, all 4 power windows, the horn. If there are electric adjustments like I have, for example, go ahead and test them all. The steering controls, you test the cruise control, the speed limiter, the windshield wipers. You test everything so you don't find out the windshield wipers don't work. And it's not the fuse, but the wiper motor, when you actually need the car. A wiper motor is often a real pain to replace, and it costs a bit of money. It's not extremely expensive, but it's not 10 euros either. Test even parts that open and close like that. Check everything works beforehand. Because you don't want to finish the paperwork, and then call the seller about issues like the glove box not opening or not staying closed. Technically, it's your job to test, since these aren't hidden defects. To avoid surprises, check everything. With that, my friends, this video ends. I hope it will be useful to you. I hope you enjoyed it. For me, I really enjoyed making this kind of video for you. I like making videos like this where I give you tips and all that, even though, as I repeat once again, I'm not a professional in the automotive field, but thanks to my experience, I might be able to give you some tips here and there to help you in your daily life when it comes to cars. If you found this video interesting, let me know in the comments. If you have other topics where I might be able to help you, let me know in the comments as well. I'll take a look. We'll post polls on Instagram, and my handle is at the bottom of the screen again so we can discuss directly. Let me know which future video topics interest you. It's different from car repair, drift, or other kinds of videos, and I like it because I enjoy sharing. So I'm interested in sharing a bit of what I've learned over the past years in the automotive field, and sharing it with you once again completely free of charge. All I ask in return is that you subscribe to the channel. That's the best way to thank me. Thank you again to everyone following me on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.